I'm joined today during our 24-hour marathon with Green Bay-based band The Independent Variable. Their latest release was 315. It was recorded at Rock Garden Studio. It's an honor to introduce Dan, Fred, and Johanna from the band. How are you guys doing today?
Andy.
Good.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I've got to thank you for bringing coffee reinforcements. You came in clutch. But 315 was a great album, and of course, like I said, that was recorded at Rock Garden Studio. You guys didn't really get a chance to play a whole lot of shows to support the album, but as I understand it, you're working on new material.
Mm-hmm.
And before we talk about that, let's talk about the formation of the band.
Yeah, unfortunately, COVID hit right when we were releasing 315, and now it seems like ages ago. But really, the band formed because, for a long time, I've been in bands forever, and, the person to my left was running sound for us, and, you name it, setting up everything. So eventually she just started to pick up a bass and learned here and there, and I met Dan through her job.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, this is my best friend right here in the whole world. So, it's been great. We've been together for quite a while. We started out just playing covers because it was just friends getting together to play music, and eventually just started writing, and things came together.
Right. I remember we used to do a lot of smaller sort of venues, open mic nights, and we did a few shows in cornfields, as I recall. And yeah, I think we got tired of, your words were being a live jukebox, and so we thought maybe it's time to start to do something of our own. And yeah, around 2006, I think we got together. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
So it's been a little shy 20 years, so hard to believe, but yes.
Were you already playing drums when you and Fred met for the first time?
Yeah. Not well. Probably not much has changed. But yes, I've been playing since about the 5th grade, so I probably don't stray too far from drums. So, and I appreciate them putting up with me.
And Johanna played bass before this?
No, not at all.
Nothing.
Fred just showed me the ropes, and it was very convenient to have a roommate that could pick up an instrument and plug in.
Mm-hmm.
How was that to take that on, not knowing how to play bass, all of a sudden, hey, you're going to be the bass player?
It was not hard. I mean, Fred and Dan are just so easygoing. They give me a lot of grace. I'm by no means musically talented, so they let me kind of do my thing, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
So how long did it take you of playing before you felt comfortable?
I still am not comfortable.
could I throw something out there? I still remember a show. I think we were playing at my brother-in-law's cabin. We went under a different name at that time, but I remember us playing some tunes, and folks ran up front with the camera, and all of a sudden the bass cut out, and I looked over, and Johanna had disappeared behind the stacks and stopped playing.
So is performing something that gives you anxiety?
I love our basement jam sessions. That's my favorite place.
Good reframe.
So you prefer to play not in front of a crowd?
Yeah, definitely. That is a true statement.
But I would say in the times that we have played out, I don't know that if you were just a person in the crowd, I don't know that you would know that. I think she settles in wonderfully, and she does an excellent job, so plays with some confidence.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known that you had not played bass prior. So, I mean, how long? So you guys said you played covers for a while, and that was as this 3-piece, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it started just you and I playing quite a bit. It was
Yeah.
just a 2-piece for quite some time, and something was missing, kind of that kick, and I think Johanna absolutely brings that to us.
So then you did the covers for a while, and then you decided, well, we should start writing some new songs. We don't want to be the jukebox, like you said, Fred said. What was the first song you wrote together, original, and do you still play that?
I think I know. What do you think?
You go first.
I think that it was Sunday Saves.
It was Sunday Saves, yes.
That's
Score.
on 315.
It's on 315, yes.
I think that was our first one.
Yeah. So, and when we get together, it's not like we just jam, and if a riff comes out of it or for an idea, that's kind of what we go with. It's rare that we get together and sit down and let's write a song.
Right.
I don't know, it just doesn't work like that for us. But I think it's pretty good when it gets done. Well,
Right.
I don't know if anybody else agrees, but I do.
Right. Well, and I think that's important. But I think that's important, though. I think, thinking about who you're making music for. You know, are you making it for consumption, or are you making it because it's something that you enjoy or something that speaks to you personally? And I think, again, not speaking for either of you two, I don't know that any of us have ambitions to be traveling musicians, or, you know, we're one hit away from making this thing. No, I think that I'll speak for me. I genuinely enjoy being around these guys. I love our friendship. I love what happens when we get together and what comes from our jam sessions. Like, I have nothing in me that expects there to be anything other than just like it's something for me, it's something for us.
Yeah.
And if people listen to it, even better. That's wonderful. Tolerate it, listen to it, great.
We have a question here. Question for Independent Variable. Ian, who you just met, had numerous names for his bands. How many names did they have before settling on Independent Variable?
I think we had a list of 20-ish, because I remember we got together and there was a whole list of stuff. So, yeah, it took a while. And we went by a different name for a while.
Each show we had a different name.
Right. The Super Euros, I think, with a G.
Yeah.
But no, I think we did. And this was before Chat GPT, where perhaps it was a little bit easier to generate something. And yeah, we went through a full list before we, I think, democratically had said, well, I think this is the one.
So you wanted something with though.
How did that go? I'm going to have to that was, years ago.
Yeah.
What was our thought process?
I think you came in with it, and it's good enough.
Right.
It was.
Right. Well, and I dug that because I think that's a research term for research psychology. You know, the independent or dependent variable, and I don't know. There was something that probably stuck more so than anything else. I don't know if you, to turn the tables, if you'd speak to your experience, but I think for us there were some things that just felt way too on the head, some stuff that felt way too corny or way too purposefully, I don't know what you would say, like it's trying too hard. It's working way too hard for itself. So I think Independent Variable was the nice middle ground where I think we can live with that.
So you get the name. And the Green Bay scene, Fred and Johanna are big music fans. In fact, you guys were in Chicago today.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming up here. But were you ingrained in the Green Bay scene when you and Dan started playing together, Fred, and then, of course, and Johanna? Were you going out and seeing bands and networking at that point?
In the early 2000s, I was, and that was before I met Dan. I was in a punkish kind of band and really had a lot of connections with the bands up there at the time. I don't think any of them exist anymore. But yeah, around that time, just like it does today, Green Bay had a pretty great scene in the early 2000s. And then really once my band broke up, I took a long time off and lost all the connections until I got together with Dan. Actually, when we were trying to go play a show, we had no friends in the scene, and we were trying to find bands that were local. And we found you guys. We watched one of your videos on YouTube, and I remember Dan and I were in the basement. Like, there is no way these guys are replying to us.
No way.
They are too professional. There is no way.
They're tight. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when we messaged you and you got back to us, we're like, oh, I can't believe it. Like literally, I can't believe they got back to us. So grateful to have met you guys and played a couple shows together.
I really like your band, and of course, that when the album came out, it was an honor to play on Charlotte. But we'll get there. So you were writing songs. When did you get to the point where we have enough songs to put out, to go record now and put out a full album?
Yeah, it was 2018-ish. There's a handful of stuff that we kind of threw away. So the 10 that are on there are kind of the best we could do at the time. So that's kind of, we just hit a point where we thought, we have enough to go to put something together. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, I think our thought process too at that point was just in producing an album. This was a theme we kept returning to. It would be nice to have something tangible that years from now we can look back that marks a period of time in our life where we, this is what we did. And again, even if no one listens to a single song, this is something that marks a time in our lives where, I don't know, we were together and we had a great deal of fun together. This was an awesome experience. So,
what made you decide to go to Rock Garden?
Really, we wanted to stay local, and we had heard from other people that had recorded there, so we gave it a shot. It was a good experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How did you go about recording the tracks?
We did we played all the songs live, like drums, bass, and guitar, and then I just overlaid some guitar on top of it and did the vocals separately, so it went really fast, faster. I had never been part of a professional recording studio experience before. I'd always done 8 tracks in the basement or reel to reels, so it was an experience.
Well, and if I could, that surprises me because I had thought that you had other like professional recording experience, because I was new to this. Like everything blew me away. Like the fact, of course, looking back, it makes sense, but the fact that all the drum tracks had to go down first caught me off guard. And trying to remember like where we were and keep pace without click tracks or anything like that. Probably not too well hidden in our recording of mine, but no, I did not use click track. I think that was interesting to me, that how it was kind of turned out.
Was it scary to you, Dan, that the drums did have to be recorded first?
I think I don't know that scary is the issue. I would trust that most people feel this way. Like, I think I'm my own worst critic. And not that I was going for something that was perfect, but I certainly wanted something to be what was at least my best foot forward. And so I think that was a little bit challenging, in that each take I really felt like I think I could do something just a little bit better. I think I could hit a fill just a little bit cleaner. I think that maybe my stick work was just a little bit sloppy. Maybe we give that another go. And so to some degree I appreciate the feedback of just at a certain point you move through the process, you let it go, and let's get on to the next thing. So,
but now, since the drums had to be recorded first, at some point you were done and you just got to sit back and kind of critique, right?
Right. I mean, it was nice. There were still some vocals to do, but for the most part, you're right. Once the drum tracks were down, then I think it's more a matter of working collaboratively to figure out, well, what do we want to hear in terms of like the mix and things of that nature. So that was, I don't know how to describe that. Interesting, at times frustrating. It was all new. So I'm glad we went through that experience, and I'm glad that we were able to work together to produce 315. So I don't know.
The title 315, where did that come from?
At the time, we had kind of been playing together for around 15 years, and there's 3 of us, so it was like 315. All right, there it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, to expand on that, I think that really that is a tribute in some ways to, again, not just the music we're making, but to our friendship. That, we have, I don't know, had a lot of fun in the last 15 years. We've been able to do a whole lot. I think, for me, this is just me speaking, I think we came farther than I thought we would. I thought this was just, a jam, and every now and again for a friend's birthday or something we'd play out, and it seems like we were able to do more and more. And I don't know, I just I think that album and that title 315 really speaks to me, because again, as Fred said earlier, love these guys. They're some of my best friends, and why not 315?
And what is the cover art? How did you put that together?
That's a good one.
It came from my job. I actually had taken a couple of pictures for a valve that was going bad, and I was just flipping through my phone trying to find pictures to use maybe for an album, and I came across that one. I'm like, oh, this looks pretty grungy and dirty. Perfect. So.
Can you tell me like some of your influences? You mentioned grunge and dirt. I know you're a local H super fan, but who are some of the other influences?
Yeah, really, I'm gonna date myself here, but that's okay. I mean, it's all the '90s stuff for me, and all the just angry, sad, depressed things. That's probably why most things I write are depressed and angry. But we tried to write happy songs before. They don't work for me. But
it's
yeah,
not your
really,
muse.
Local H, Alice in Chains, all that stuff from back then. So.
It's interesting hearing the dynamics in the music, because it seems like Dan sings the happy songs.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
So Fred sings like the more angry kind of songs. But new stuff that you're writing now, that Dan, you've kind of proven yourself too as a singer. How are you ending up getting lead vocals on some of these songs? Are they ones that you're writing, or is Fred just thinking that it fits your voice better?
That's a good question. You want to try taking that first, or I can jump in?
Well, when we're getting together to play, and if I have a riff, if we're trying to work through vocal melodies, I'll try something and Dan will try something. And there's a few of these new songs that we're doing where we'll be jamming, and Dan came up with something that we all love. So, hey, that one's yours. Take it away. And I am by no means a musician. I make noise with guitar. So there are a lot of songs that we do that I couldn't sing and play at the same time. So that's kind of how it worked out.
I like how you threw that last one in real quick. No, but there's some truth there too with on the drumming end as well. And yeah, to Fred's point, I'm probably echoing what he said. I think some of it is as we go through and we're just laying down some demo stuff, just trying to capture in the moment a melody. Sometimes it works better for Fred to sing it, and sometimes he's charitable, and Johanna is generous enough to say, try it, see where it goes, and maybe there's something to it. So and maybe there will be. Who knows?
So Fred's doing most of the lyric writing, though.
I would say
You do a lot of
probably
it.
60, 70%. And then like the songs that Dan sings on, those are all his words. So I don't write anything. The same thing for my stuff. He doesn't, or the things I sing on, he doesn't write. So that's how we share things. And I mean, well, there's feedback if, hey, that line doesn't work, but it's really collaborative. And really, there's a lot of stuff we're doing now that's got some harmony in it, and it's always, if I'm singing the main line, Dan just makes up a harmony and words. I don't give him feedback on the words. Well, that worked out perfect. So it's just, we have a good connection when it comes to music.
I'd say so.
Is there any chance that Johanna will sing the song? Get another
put a
different
mic in
voice?
front of her a few times.
You've played at shows with us. She's never said a word into a microphone on stage.
I don't need a mic on stage. No.
Have you had the bug to write some lyrics and write it, like sing one though?
Fred every once in a while will try to give me a chance, and I'm not as creative. Fred and Dan are really truly the creatives in the mix, and I'm just lucky to go along for the ride.
You know what? You guys are like a very humble band, very talented, but it's nice to, I guess, talk to a band that is so humble and so talented. Johanna, like I feel like you could do this. Like your bass playing, it's everything. I want to hear more about like when you were growing up. Were you into music, or was it not until you met Fred that you got so into music?
No, my parents really instilled in me just an appreciation for all genres of music. And Fred was a musician in high school when I met him, and that really kind of drew us together. So I really always loved music, and it's just really cool now to be part of the independent variable. So I'm a fan as much as I am part of the band.
Do you have a favorite venue that you've played at?
They're limited. They're very limited.
Pick one of two.
I don't know if this is strange to say, but some of the most fun, and it's really not even a venue, but back when we first started, almost every year we would get together. His family would have a big 4th of July celebration. We'd rent a generator and set up our everything outside and play shows for friends and family. Those are the most fun that I've had playing together as this group.
That's so funny you bring that up. I was just at a birthday party before coming here, and someone actually tapped me on the shoulder to say, "Are you guys going to be playing the 4th of July sometime?" Probably no time soon. But yes. I don't know if the Lyric Room was always a good venue.
I love
as
the
well.
Lyric Room. That's very sad that
Great day.
it doesn't exist.
Now we're gonna go into some sad territory here. Fred, you came out and said that you had some cancer a while back, and that was a shock to me and probably everybody you know.
Yeah.
That, of course, put the band on hiatus.
Yeah.
And how are you recovering? What's your status currently?
I'm doing great right now. What I have is chronic. It's going to come back on me at some point, but just lesson learned to me. I think I waited too long to go get checked out. When I finally did, I was in pretty rough shape. So, God, it was months until we could get back in the basement and start playing again. And when we did, it was probably January, and we got down there. We played one song. That's all I could make it through energy-wise, and we got done. I started bawling because I didn't know if I could do it again. But yeah, sitting here today, I feel great. I mean, I'm happy that it's not coming out in anything I'm writing right now because it's still angry and sad and depressed. But no, I just lesson to everybody. Don't wait to get checked out if you think something's going on, because I definitely waited too long.
So if you don't mind, what were some of the things that you noticed that pushed you to finally go in?
I was feeling fatigued, and I felt weird. And I had no idea. I didn't know what was going on. I thought maybe I just had like a heart palpitation. So I went in to just get a regular checkup, and they drew blood. And 2 hours later, I had a phone call, and they said, "Hey, you have a appointment at the cancer clinic tomorrow." And I mean, it was like a scene out of like a movie or a TV show, because I dropped my phone and I fell on the floor because I was just like, it was a punch in the stomach. I just had no idea that's what was going on. And luckily, I mean, I got in, and my dad had the same thing that I have. So my case actually went to the hospital, and I have my dad's doctor because he saw the name. I have the same name as my dad. So I got the best care. I'm grateful for the team that I had. So,
And obviously, in that kind of situation, the band isn't, top priority. But I mean, you guys, Dan and Johanna, that had to be a very trying time for both of you.
well, when I was at my worst, I just wanted to have friends over, and I have a very small group of friends, but they are the best people in the world. I couldn't hope for better. And Dan, instead of, when we practice on weekends, instead of practicing, Dan would come over and we'd play Call of Duty. So, we were still getting together, and it was uplifting for me because I was really down. So just seeing him every weekend, it really meant a lot.
Right.
And we actually just, the whole group of us went to a show a couple weeks ago. We went to Sasanta in Milwaukee, and Johanna had bought tickets last year. They saying, okay, you're going to be better by this day, and we're all going to go together. And that happened, and these freaking jerks made me cry more than once that day. But yeah, it was great.
Right.
Well, I know you've got some field trips coming up soon where you'll be going to see Nine Inch Nails, which I'm very jealous.
Yes, yeah, we're heading to Europe to catch them in Amsterdam and Berlin, and then we are also big fans. I don't know if you know who Not a Surf is.
Yeah.
We're big fans of Not a Surf, and they're playing in France, so we're going to hop a train over there and go see them one
Is
night.
that a
too.
big hit popular? Was that Not a Surf?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so
That's cool. So obviously, not only do you like playing music, but it's also something you like to do in your free time.
yeah.
And you mentioned Call of Duty, right? So the video games. What are some of the other things that you guys like doing when you're not playing music?
Well, I'll let him go because he has a much bigger family and people to take care of than I do.
Oh, geez. Well, I mean, together, if the question is what is it that we do together, I mean, we've seen a ton of shows together. I think that just one of my favorite parts of our Saturday get-togethers is after we bust out some tunes and we get it out of our system, we usually retire to the room right next to theirs and just plop down on couches and just sit and chat. And every now and again, we find things on YouTube that, I don't know, made us laugh or what have you, and do that. But yeah, outside of the band, it would be nice for us to get together more and practice more, but I know our lives are pretty busy. We're all three gainfully employed. I know it's hard to believe we don't do this professionally. But yes, and yeah, I have 3 boys at home, so I think that there's always something bubbling, and there's always something to juggle to make sure that priorities are where they need to be. So
now that Fred is recovering, getting better every day, you guys bouncing around some ideas. Any plans yet, active plans to get going on that second album?
I'd love to find a studio this winter. I mean, we have the bones of an album. We're just trying to polish off some songs. So our goal is right now to get in this winter and get something done.
right.
Anything you learned from recording the first album that you might do differently this album?
Yeah, I just in like vocals, I might want to double the vocals up. I just I didn't know about a lot of stuff when we went in the first time, so we'll definitely take some lessons learned into the new experience. And I think the songs we're writing are more, I don't know if mature is the right word, but I don't know, they seem older, maybe like written by almost 50-year-olds with bad backs. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Could be. Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys did some really, really fun live streams in the past. And I'm hoping you do more of that. You did a really, really good Halloween one where you were dressed up,
Right.
with people like from What We Do in the Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And Fred, Dan said you did all that, like getting that all queued up and ready, and that looks really
amazing.
good.
Yeah. I spent weeks in the basement just trying to edit pictures and get scenes together. And like we had green screen on the floor, on the ceiling, on the walls of my entire basement. So it was a lot of fun. It was something to do during COVID, and I thought, let's do something Halloween themed. And we were being as careful as possible.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
So we were wearing masks when we weren't playing. We get done. I felt great. I had a blast doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dan called me the next day. And he said there was COVID that he was exposed to. So yeah,
Can I get a close-up on me? So look, my shame-filled look.
Luckily, it did not spread through the green screen session, so we came out clean.
What a time to be alive.
Right.
Yes.
So hopefully more of that live streaming stuff in the future too.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I look forward to the next album coming out. Really enjoy 315. If people are just finding out about the Independent Variable now, that album is available on Amazon Music and probably Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You've got hard copies.
Yep.
Would really love to see you guys play like somewhere like All Bands on Deck or Mile of Music or one of the festivals. I think that would be excellent.
I'd love to. We need friends. So if anybody wants to invite us anywhere, we're available.
Here's an open call. Anyone, please? Pretty, please.
So where can people go to find out more besides finding, the Amazon Music, the Spotify? Do you have a website?
Yeah, we're on Facebook and Instagram, and I think if you go to the independentvariablemusic.com, it'll just direct you to our Facebook page. So, yeah.